want us to take a moment to think about the war which is currently taking place in the Ukraine. A little history. At the end of the 19th century, Ukraine was in the Pale of Settlement, a vast area established by the czars to quarantine Jews along the western border of the vast Russian Empire. The Pale included not only Ukraine, but also Poland and other large centers of Jewish population. The territory of the Pale was the largest Jewish population in the world until the Holocaust. At its high point, Ukraine had more than 1 million Jews whose native language was nearly 100% Yiddish. Long caught in the crosshairs of history, Ukraine's Jewish population suffered terribly during the pogroms of the late 19th century, leading to massive Jewish emigration, principally to the United States, which means that was our family. They also sparked the development of the Zionist movement. Odessa became a leading port city for the early Zionist pioneers on their way to Turkish Palestine, some of whom trained in Jewish agricultural schools in the region. They went on to help create some of the original kibbutzim in Israel. A number of Zionist leaders, including Zev Jabotinsky, Golda Meir, and Natan Sharansky, were born in Ukraine. Ukrainian Jews were caught in the crossfire of history during the Russian Revolution and the bloody wars, which followed until the founding of the Soviet Union in 1922, 5 years after the Bolsheviks first sought to overthrow the Tsar. Soviet communists then worked to destroy all religious expressions of Judaism in the Soviet Union and control the nature of secular Jewish, mostly Yiddish culture in their country. In the early 1930s, Stalin's policies of collectivization and political suppression led to the complete failure of the Ukrainian agricultural sector and led to millions of deaths by starvation. During this period known as the Holodomor, Jews increasingly left their villages in Ukraine to look for work and food in the larger cities, intensifying the region's native anti-Semitism. In 1942, Nazis broke their non-aggression treaty with Russia and launched Operation Barbarossa, the largest military operation in history, to create quote unquote living space for Germany in the East and seized the area's rich natural resources. SS Einsatzgruppen followed the German army and slaughtered as many as 1 million Ukrainian Jews in mass shootings, including the massacre at Babi Yar in September 1942. Knowledge of Babi Yar was suppressed by the communists who ruled Ukraine until 1991 and the fall of the Soviet Union. One might think that with this volatile history, that Jews would have left Ukraine and emigrated elsewhere completely. While many have left, Ukraine is actually in the middle of a Jewish revival. A few generations ago, Jews had to hide their identity. Today, Jewish children attend Jewish summer camps, Jewish schools, synagogues. There are Orthodox, Reform, and Masorti, the sister movement of the conservative movement, Masorti synagogues, that are flourishing in the Ukraine. And the current president of the country, Volodymyr Zelensky, is Jewish and embraces his Jewish identity. 8 decades ago, members of the Zelensky family were murdered during the Holocaust and others fought in the Red Army. But a Jew is president there and may not survive. And there are people in our congregation who have direct contacts with people right now who are fleeing for their lives. Yeah. So I will recite the prayer for peace before the Torah on Shabbat. In this fragile moment. May we see the day when we will when war and bloodshed cease, when a great peace will embrace the whole world. Then nation will not threaten nation, and the human family will not again know war. For all who live on earth shall realize we have not come into being to hate or destroy. We've come into being to praise, to labor, and to love. Compassionate God, bless the leaders of all nations with the power of compassion. Fulfill the promise conveyed in Scripture. I will bring peace to the land, and you shall lie down, and no one shall terrify you. I will rid the land of vicious beasts, and it shall not be ravaged by war. Let love and justice flow like a mighty stream. Let God's peace fill the earth as the waters fill the sea. And let us say,
Amen.
Amen.